All right, at this point in time, we are joined by Air Vice Marshal, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan. Sir, appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you can hear me.
Right. Namaskar.
Sir, namaskar. So it's a pleasure to have you. Sir,
Thank you.
more MOUs, more alignment between our great nations, both having profound roots when it comes to democracy, are in the fray. What do you make of India and France partnership? Of course, it got stronger after we relied on France for our air capabilities. The Rafale has been, a stellar reason why both these countries have forged ahead. What did you make of the Prime Minister's visit, and how is this keenly important in India's deterrence agenda?
Thank you very much to have me there. And having personally flown Mirage 2000, I think personally I have a strong linkages with the France. And the Indian Air Force in particular has a fantastic relation from 1950s onward, having flown a different type of fighter aircraft from Tufanis to Mystiers to Mirage 2000 to upgraded Mirage 2000 and Rafale aircraft now. And also we have flown jointly developed British and French Jaguar aircraft. So as a result, Indian Air Force is very much familiar with the French capabilities. And in both the platforms, Mirage 2000 and Rafale, they have offered us the entire suite of their capabilities, from electronic warfare to the air defense to the ground attack. In terms of this particular visit, sir, it's about diplomacy, trade, technology, and history and people connect insofar as I think. From the AI summit to ITER visit on the technology and the private visit with various people in the power and the president himself for the diplomacy, the trade, some of the people he has met, including Google CEO on the sidelines. And of course, I feel that inauguration of Marseille consulate, which has a special connect with the Indian Air Force, because that's the place first time in the summer 1980. We flew the Mirage 2000, and as a result, we bought that aircraft. And also a tribute to the fallen soldiers. A large number of Indian soldiers have participated in both great wars, World War I and II, and you have a cemetery to honor them. So therefore, Indian military feels especially connected to the France and its people. So also during Aero India on the first day, while our Honorable Prime Minister was in France, we signed a contract, Bharat Electronic Limited with Safran, to get a special a long-range precision weapon from them, sir.
So the Prime Minister also visited a couple of cemeteries in which he paid homage to the legacy of some of the Indian soldiers who were martyred in World War I. And this is not the first time that the Prime Minister has done that in France. He's done that in Australia, he's done that in Singapore, he's done that in a multitude of other countries as well. What does that mean to you?
Essentially, when we were occupied by the Britishers, a large number of soldiers, in fact, one of the largest number of soldiers who fought on the other land during the Great Wars is from India. And Indians have played a stellar role to bring a peace into the world, both on through peaceful means and, of course, during the hostility and the war.
And so there is also, this point about the criticality of technology transfer. Do you think that in our dealings with France or perhaps even Russia, it is important to keep the Atmanirbharta factor in mind as well?
Absolutely right, sir. See, as you look at the technology, you would like to be at the leading edge too. And when your ecosystem has not been fully grown, and insofar as India is concerned, it's open to private only from once the country paid with the blood of the soldiers in Kargil war. It's just around 20-25 years in a right earnest from the 2016 with the liberalization of various rules and FDR norms and Atmanirbharta drive taking shape. we have the technology opening up from the private sector. So therefore, partnering with the foreign country is absolutely right, sir, especially for the technology which are the legacy and the contemporary, to quickly acquire those technology so that we are able to deter the adversary.
Sir, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, is also with us on the program. Group Captain Dr. Vigan Jha joins us on the broadcast as well. Last but not the least, Dr. Sharad Kohli, senior economist, with us on the show as well. Ambassador Veena Sikri, how do you look at a comprehensive level at this, this very touching event that we have just witnessed between, the French and the Indian government? Obviously, like I always say, that these interactions are not transactional in nature. However, they come up with transactions which benefit both the nations in a very subtle and a very astute and in a very friendly manner. That is by far the best spectacle of diplomacy.
Yes, absolutely. I must say that this visit by Prime Minister Modi to France is one in a series of visits, but it has added many, many layers to the cooperation and the future perspective of the cooperation between our two countries. I think India and France have this very special approach of strategic autonomy in foreign affairs. I think we share that very strongly, and France has always been a country that has sought to find its own way in international affairs, and so has India, always looking at the respective interests of their own nations, but finding the way together for mutual benefit and for the future interests of the people. I think France has had this very special approach towards India, and even when Jacques Chirac was the president of France, that was when he had first spoken about the special strategic partnership between India and France, and it was one of the first strategic partnerships that we worked out. And we've also had this even when other countries like where after Pokhran 2 test, many countries shunned India, but then the French were ones who did not, who understood the reasons, and they were even present there at the next Republic Day after that. I think this visit, the present visit, is really one of those. It's a very strong marker in the very historic pathway of the relations between India and France. I think the AI summit yesterday was very special. A Prime Minister's speech there was very special because he pointed out that AI is not something that we need to be scared of, but something that we need to work with. We shouldn't think about AI as losing jobs for people, but we should think of AI as a technology that will create different kinds of jobs. So you need to skill and reskill the people and carry forward your own development, taking in mind the views of the needs of AI. And I think he also said a very important thing about the need for green energy, because for the use of AI, you need huge amounts of energy, and green energy has to be in the front of this effort. And this was I think a very significant point that he made. So his speech was very well received, and we've seen many excellent comments on it. Even the Vice President of USA, Vice President J.D. Vance, made a very favorable reference to our Prime Minister's speech. It was indeed path-breaking, and I think the achievements of the AI summit, and India is going to host the next one. This is also very important that this has happened, and India will also be able to play its role in carrying forward. India and France in the field of green energy, we've worked together on the International Solar Alliance that is based in Delhi. And President Macron has always been a great supporter, and he was here at the inaugural, and he's always been very strong on this. So it shows another area, another side of the multifaceted cooperation between our two countries. And then today in Marseille, the very touching visit to the Mazar War Cemetery and the recalling of the memory of the soldiers who martyred their lives, who gave up their lives and martyred themselves during the First and Second World War. And then also the reference to Veer Savarkar. I mean, it's a point of history that many people perhaps do not know about. It's not often written about. That Veer Savarkar made a courageous escape from the ship which was carrying him from London to India. And many people in France, many activists in Marseille did not want that he should be handed back to the British authorities. But ultimately, the French did hand him back, and this was opposed by many citizens of Marseille. And so it shows another aspect of, even during the our freedom struggle, how Veer Savarkar made a courageous escape, and he was helped by some of the citizens of people living in Marseille. And I think the futuristic, the 10-point agenda that has come out is the futuristic view that we're going to have. The defense deals are really significant. The Rafale M for the Navy, for the aircraft carriers, and the Scorpion are really very important additions. 90,000 crores is a huge sum of money, but I think it's a good value for money, and we look forward. And the transfer of technology aspect is very important. Not many countries are willing to do that, and France has once more shown its willingness to trust India with the transfer of technology and joint production, joint defense productions for the future. I think the people to people, the next year, the business forum was very good, very well dressed. And also the Indian startups participating in the French startup setup, and so many aspects. So it shows that France is willing to open all its areas for collaboration with India. And I think there's been a very valuable coming together of the minds in working out this program of cooperation for the future, which really shows for the next many decades, India and France will be working close together. Thank you.
Right, you're absolutely right, ma'am. Let me rope in Dr. Kohli as well. Dr. Kohli, if you talk about the French economy, they have not really been doing well when it comes to people connect. Obviously there are avenues which have opened up, but there is more that the French can do, right? And I'm talking about the rigmaroles and the complications that a normal Indian has to, in fact, to pursue, just to go to France and see the Eiffel Tower.
Well, good afternoon, Vineet, and good afternoon to fellow panelists and the Newsx viewers. Good evening, rather, to some. Well, I think there was a time when India needed France more than, what France needed India. I think tables have changed over a period of time. France needs India as much, if not more, as India needs France. I think that is the new equation, I would say, which I'm sure the ambassadors, the ex-ambassadors of the panel would agree with me. We are living in a changed world, and India has come a long way from where it used to be. I remember the 1998 strategic partnership between India and France from where it all started, and when it came to Rafale, when it went on to Scorpion submarines, and so on and so forth. Why forget 1954 colonial legacy which France left in Puducherry? And I had a chance to visit. You can still see a lot of France in there. People speak French, and there's a lot of French culture we see. So there is a cultural relation there. There is a cultural touch. There's a cultural connection there, I would say, which is, of course, but I think more important in the current scenario is the global geo-economic situation, which has changed. And that's where this particular meeting holds more relevance, whether it is startups, whether it is space, whether it is defense, whether it is civil nuclear deals. I think they are all become suddenly very, very relevant. And I think Prime Minister Modi is very clear. I mean, every time he's in a country, he would like to invite the investors that India provides you one of the largest markets. The size of our middle class is twice the size of probably of the American population if we include all, strata of the population. So it's a huge market. And you're right, France has been going through some tough economic, times. Why France? The same was the story in Germany. The same was the story in Belgium. The same was the story across most of Europe. They've been going through a very difficult time. In fact, the world economic growth today is barely 3% or maybe a tad less. But Indian growth, despite all the sluggishness, still holds fort at about 6.5%. So I think the world looks up to a country which is growing. And, the obvious question when the two heads of state meet is, what magical are you doing to be growing twice the rate at which the rest of the world is growing? So, you have to answer that question. And that's when they look up to you. So I feel that after this visit, we can expect a lot of positive-ended French investments into the country, and I think the French would like to explore the market. One of the signs we need of a slow economy, of a sliding economy, of a recessionary kind of a situation is that you're not able to find a market. Your products don't sell, and if you look at Indo-French bilateral trade, we need. It's about $14 billion odd. And the good thing is that we have a positive balance of trade with France. We export about 8 and we import about 6. So one of the few countries with whom we have a positive balance of trade. And we look at the items which are exported and imported. Obviously, from France, there's a lot of space, a lot of defense and civil nuclear stuff. But from India, there's a lot of textile going, there's pharmaceuticals, there are other products also. So I think the scope of increasing the trade and taking it to the next level is phenomenal. And it is then when interactions like these, summits like these, visits like these, they really come handy, because when you feel that in certain sectors the trade is stalled, is not moving forward, well, suddenly, the Prime Minister goes and speaks there, and the investors from there, the people who want to market their products, and Indian exporters for that matter, they get encouraged, they get motivated. And we should not forget that when the Prime Minister goes, he doesn't travel alone. There is always a delegation with him. There's a business delegation, there's a delegation of bureaucrats who try and open other channels of increasing the trade, enhancing the trade opportunities. So I think the visit is going to go a long way. It may be a very short visit, just probably there was AI summit yesterday, and now there's one-to-one interaction. Obviously, Prime Minister would be leaving for the US soon. I feel the short visit too is going to be very, very productive. And as we heard from the MEA Secretary just now on the 4 aspects, I have no doubt that this is going to move forward. And before I hand over to the next panelist, I would like to say that the changed times now are in a manner that whenever there is an accord, or there is an agreement signed, or there is an informal discussion, now we don't have to chase. It's the curiosity, the desire is from both the sides, which is a very positive that I take from the recent visits that I have seen of the Prime Minister to several of these countries. We see things moving very fast. Well, there were times when discussions were made, they were lying on the table, there were diplomatic hassles, they were the connection between the government was slow. But I think we are in a different world altogether, and you're going to see things moving very quickly from here on. Vineet.
All right, that's a positive note to end your commentary with, Dr. Kohli. Positive, in fact, are the visuals also that you see on your screen. Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha, former DRDO and IFS officer, also joins us on the broadcast. Group Captain Jha, if I ask you that, which was that one salient takeaway from this meet that you would remember for a long time, what would it be?
Beneath, to be very frank, many of the people in the last, few days have been speculating that so-and-so thing will be signed, so thing will be signed. But I think what we have done here in this particular visit is built on the